Hi and welcome. Now in the last videos we were looking at the if-else statement, and I told you that in the next couple of videos we'll be looking at the switch statement right here. So what is a switch statement? Let's say for instance that you have a small calculator program. Let's just say that it only does addition, and you want it such that if a user enters 1, something will happen. Maybe if they enter 0, something else will happen. If they press 3, something else will happen. Let's call this, maybe it's var input. So let's just call it var I because I don't want to type. So var I maybe is equals to something. You can give it a default if you want to. So what the switch will do is var I, maybe you have somewhere where it says enter a key, whereby if they enter 0, 0 equals exit the program. 1 equals, maybe when they enter 1, maybe start the program. And then this is 2. Now if they enter 2, 2 means do the addition, because we say this is our calculator that does addition. So 2 means do the addition. So what the switch does is this. You have that var I, and then that I will become the expression here. So you'll switch the I. So this will just look out for the I. It will look out for it and see what the user has put in. Let's say switch I, and the user inputs 0. If they input 0, here it will now be 0 case 0. It will be like this. This place where there is label 1, that will now be case 0. So it will be like this, case. You'll see this in real examples once I start doing examples on Scratchpad. If it is case 0, maybe you'll say here case 0, we said exit the program, right? So it will just exit the program and close the application. And then I'll talk about this break. And what if now case 1? Now case 1, if the input is 1, we say that you start the program. So start the program. You'll write your code in here that will start the program. And then break. And then also we may have case 3. Now case 3, I mean case 2. Case 2 now would mean that we do our addition. So if they enter 2, it will do additions or whatever functionality you have for that case 3. So basically what a switch statement is, it takes what value is being checked for and it matches it to one of the cases. Case 0, do this. If case 1, do whatever is here. And then if you have other cases, you'd give them the right code so that if the value that has been put matches that particular case, then the code for that case will be run. Now, what is a scenario where you can use a switch? You can use the switch in places whereby you have a definite number of possibilities. For example, we know that there are 7 days in a week. We know that there are 12 months in a year. We know that there are 30 days. Okay, that can vary depending on the month. So we know there are 7 days in a week, definitely. So maybe you wanted to say that var day. So you want to check for day. If it is a day of the week, case 1, case 0, maybe that's Monday. Do something here on Monday. Case 1, that's Tuesday. Do something here on Tuesday. Case 3, case 2, that is Wednesday. Do something on Wednesday. So on and on until you get to Sunday. You can use this for definite numbers. So we are going to do an example using months of the year, which are 12. So basically a switch, it will evaluate the expression that you put and then it will match it to a case. Like I've shown you how to match it to a certain case here. So we also have this default. So we have this break and we have this default. Before we talk about the default, let's talk about break. So you can think of the switch statement as an if, else, or rather else if block. You remember it? If you don't, just go back and watch that else block. You can think of a switch statement as similar to this one, and you're going to see why I'm saying this when I talk about the default. Now let's talk about the break. Now the break, this is optional, but it is here to ensure that once you reach a statement that is right, once you have matched whatever you're matching here to a certain case, the break will ensure that it breaks out of the switch completely, because only one can be right. So as soon as it hits the one which is right, it will exit out of the program, out of the switch statement, and that is a function of the break. So if you forget to put this, all of them are going to get run until they hit a break. And you're going to see this in examples. We are going to remove the break and just see what happens. Now, default. The default is here, as the name suggests. It is also optional, but the default is here to make sure that at least you have a fallback. If everything else are not matched, the default will get run. Whatever you put here, that's what's going to get run if none of the cases match. That's why I was saying that it is the same as the if, else block. So you can think of the default like the else, right? If all of this, nothing is matched, it will always run what's in the else section of the block. So the default will run when nothing is matched, and the default can be down here, the very last, or you can put it the first here at the very top before the first case. But of course, it's just more sensible to put it as the last section once everything else has been run. So of course, in the next video, we are going to start looking at an example. And the example we're going to look at is going to contain months, the 12 months of the year. So I will see you in that example.